Hello and welcome to Gritty Reboot, where we make fun of TV's dark side. I'm Kevin James, and joining me today, live from a biker bar, is Sarah Dunaway. Sarah, how's it going over there?
Oh, I'm doing great, Kevin. I'm just here hanging out in a leather jacket and frowning so that people know that I'm in a gang. Everyone seems very intimidated.
I've got to be honest, this seems like a regular day for you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're also joined by Hunter Markham, who I hear has taken a new job as a construction worker.
That's right, Kevin. I feel very out of place here, though. I'm the only worker over the age of 16. Everyone keeps calling me Grandpa.
I mean, you brought it on yourself, Hunter. You are practically 30. I mean, they were bound to make fun of how old you are.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of being really old and out of the loop, I'm really embarrassed to admit something that I just figured out this week. So, in a previous episode, Sarah, you said something about, too soon, Luke Perry, and something about him dying. I thought you just meant that his character died. I didn't know that he had passed away in real life until, 2 days ago.
Oh, yikes. Yes, that happened.
Did you miss the nationwide candlelight vigils, Hunter?
I must have. I feel really bad because I've been making all these Luke Perry jokes and I didn't know that he was deceased, and now I kind of feel like a jerk, honestly.
If it helps, it seemed like you were in on it. So, you did fine.
Luke Perry seemed like a cool guy in life. I feel like he'd be fine with this.
I hope so. That was a little bit of a shock for me. I think the other shock were some conversations that we were having in the group chat, Sarah, and I realized that I don't know as much about you as I would like.
Okay.
Because I think prior to this, we've met in person twice.
That's true. We actually don't know each other very well at all.
So
that you actually both answered help wanted ads from me that I placed in the paper. Neither of you are my friends. You're both just paid actors.
Yeah, that's how we got this gig. In order to rectify this, even though we're about 6-7 episodes into you co-hosting this, I put together a little quiz for you, Sarah, just so that I and the listeners can get to know you.
Oh, well, this is very terrifying. I can't wait. Let's do it.
These are just normal, questions. I'm not going to ask about anyone that you know that was recently murdered and if they dealt drugs. This is not one of those sorts of rendezvous. Question one.
Oh, so it's not a date. Okay, got it.
Yeah, this is strictly professional. Question one. What are your feelings on Harry Potter?
I love Harry Potter. I've read all the books many times. I was the same age as Harry Potter when the first book came out, so I grew up with Harry Potter. Some of the movies are also good. Not all of them.
I never read the last Harry Potter book. I stopped at book 6, and I've never seen the last 2 movies.
What an interesting choice. That'll resolve somehow, I guess.
Everything seems to work out for them. I mean, the principal's dead. They'll probably have fun with that.
Yeah. So, got a few more questions for you. This was what really kicked it off. How much do you love the Beatles?
Okay, so I'm going to say I'm less of a fan than my middle school best friend who is now married to a bassist from Liverpool because her John Lennon obsession went that far. But do I love them? Do I know all their songs? Sure, yes. I don't love all of their songs. I have very specific favorite albums and favorite songs, but there's something for everyone in the Beatles catalog, really.
Okay, for context for everyone listening out there, I made an anti-Beatles joke or comment in a group chat, and Sarah responded to it with slight rancor, so...
No, it's fine. There's no animosity. I think it's very cute when people pretend they hate the Beatles. It's adorable.
They don't have any big riffs.
You say that like you've never heard the song Taxman.
Yeah, that one really just, gets the pit going. So final question, Sarah. You spell your name with an H on the end. How do you feel about Sarah's who spell it without the H?
I'm sure some are fine. I just feel that, like, as a general rule, they tend not to be as high quality. It's just the trend.
You heard it here first. Sarah's without the H on the end. You're trash.
They're
We've
just
just
missing
lost
something.
half of our audience.
Like, you can feel that something is missing from their lives, and it's the H.
All right. I feel like now I know you a lot better, and I feel like I'm not going to stick my foot in my mouth as often, so we can move forward with the purpose of this show, which, you know, we may have stepped away from for a second, but for very good reason.
Want to jump into the episode title, Sarah? I know you have a lot to say about this.
Well, I was just shocked to learn that Kevin has neither read The Outsiders or seen The Outsiders.
I'm in the same boat.
Look,
What?
Look, I'm anti the outside. I've gone on record. The inside is where it's at. I don't trust people who like being outside. Don't want to read about them.
No, I remember reading this book in 4th or 5th grade, and I thought it was amazing. And then I read it again at least 2 more times, probably. And at some point saw the movie, which is a classic. It has, like, Matt Dillon and Rob Lowe and Patrick Swayze. It has so many, like, great
And all
actors
those
in
gold
it.
pony boys in it.
Stay gold, pony boys. It's where I was introduced to the works of Robert Frost, because Nothing Gold Can Stay is heavily quoted in that book and film.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed really deep when I was 11.
Oh, I'm
okay?
sure it's a good
what's-
book. It's praised in like every list I've ever seen it, and just like there's so much to read. Oh my goodness.
No, I get it. I do think it's really cool that S.E. Hinton wrote it when she was 15 and 16 and managed to get it published at 18, which seems like a big feat for a teenage girl in 1967.
Yeah, that's
like
huge.
that seems big. And so it's sort of like Aragon, but good.
I had no familiarity with The Outsiders, so perhaps this title really blew by me.
Well, it's also, unsurprisingly, pretty much irrelevant to the rest of the plot, so let's go to our favorite opener. What should this actually be titled? I had a few, none of them very good. This was a hard one to come up with for. I came up with Bringing Up Baby, Dude, Where's My Crew, and Meet the Parents. But I don't feel great about any of those.
I had The Grudge, Baby Geniuses 2, Super Babies, Twins, because everyone loves that Arnold Schwarzenegger Danny DeVito vehicle, and The Lair of the White Wyrm, also known as Moose's Pants.
Oh, that's really good.
I, again, forgot about this segment that I was the one to introduce. So, really good stuff. I came up with one last night.
You did.
The Kids Are All Fight.
Yes.
One.
Maybe brainstorming while out at a brewery was not our finest idea.
Yeah, I came up with several, and that's all very fuzzy to me at this time.
You know, after 6 IPAs, things start to swirl.
There were only 3 IPAs, 2 Farmer's Ales, and a nice Grisette Hunter.
Here I was, sitting at home editing audio.
So, want to jump into cultural references?
Yes, I got those right here. I'm super prepared today.
The Coopers. The Stepfords of Riverdale.
War is hell, Jug.
No, Archie. Hell is other people. So your mom and dad want Polly, but not the baby, and the Blossoms want the baby and not Polly. It's a true Gordian knot.
Cliff Blossom made my crew an offer they couldn't refuse, so they walked.
The Blossoms and the Coopers in our pre-war apartment. It'll be a bloodbath. They've been the Hatfields and McCoys since long before Polly was pregnant.
Do you think that you can just waltz in here with a bedbug-infested Trojan horse, wave a blank check around, and steal my daughter?
So yeah, lots of fun references. I of course finished on that classic reference to Blank Check, the amazing 1994 kids film.
I love that movie. The kid just gives himself $1 million and buys a mansion.
It's so good.
Yeah, he has a really limited imagination for what counts as a blank check. I finally caught an offer they couldn't refuse after missing it twice in previous episodes.
Wait, twice in previous episodes? I remember once where it happened when Jughead was talking about the Twilight being sold originally.
Oh, maybe it was just once. Whatever.
But this is the second time they've returned to that same well.
I wanted Archie to apply the transitive property. So after he says war is hell and Jughead says hell's other people, Archie be like, war is other people.
They got very historical with these references, and when I heard William Tecumseh Sherman quote immediately followed by a Jean-Paul Sartre quote, I was there. Hey, they dug deep with Greek mythology as well.
And then, the Hatfield McCoys, it's obviously a reference to, like, those famous Southern feuding family. But since there is a prominent family of McCoys in Riverdale, I think they missed a golden opportunity for Hermione to say something like, and obviously, I'm talking about Mayor McCoy's long-standing feud with Pop Hatfield. She never liked how badly he misspelled the word chocolate.
Oh, I didn't think about that. But, so, like, the Gordian knot is a Greek myth where there's an untieable knot, and then I forget which hero it is, just slices the knot in half with a sword rather than untie it.
Alexander the Great.
Yes.
Wait.
Which, I mean, was cheating, but okay.
Hey, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And then, yeah, they went with that and a Trojan horse reference, which I'm pretty sure everyone should be familiar with. This is where, yeah, there were a lot more classic references here and fewer things of like, oh, Suicide Squad and whatever other TV show.
Can I also say I loved Alice's Trojan War line? Like, that was the opposite of a cringy line. That was an amazing moment.
Yes.
Your bed bug infested Trojan horse. Amazing.
Oh, we will get to
She always pulls off the insults.
Alice is great. As we find out in this episode, she kicks out her husband, so I think there's room for a new man in the Cooper household, and I'm officially submitting my resume.
Oh, good luck.
She could really put you in your place.
Put me in my place. Put me in my place. Put me in my place. Put me in my place.
I like how the opening shot of this episode is like Alice's evil ferret-like eyes just like glaring into the camera.
But then they compare her to a Stepford wife, which I feel like is really off base. Yes. Like, if Alice Cooper is a Stepford wife, they need to take that robot back to the shop immediately because something has gone very wrong with its submissive housewife programming. Like, that did not work out.
Yeah, this one's malfunctioned. This one has achieved sentience and is taking over everything.
This is a Westworld situation.
The Stepford Wives. That's the movie about wives who are very domineering and very in control and can overpower their husbands at any moment, right? Yeah?
Yes.
That's how the movie goes?
Absolutely.
So, one thing about this opening monologue is there's a lot of these cuts to past events, and in previous episodes, it had been intimated that Polly was kind of shy and reserved, but they show her in a flashback dressed as a cheerleader and really obviously flirting with Jason. So this didn't really jive with what I thought Polly was like.
Well, it feels like there were a surprising number of retcons in the opening shots because there was even like when they went to Jason's car, like it was on fire and raining, and that wasn't what happened the last time we saw it on fire. Is it just like still burning somewhere?
It's an effigy. They just keep replacing it.
It's become just a bonfire spot for kids.
Yeah, I also just, watching this, I kept being like, okay, they were like 14. This was a really intense relationship, and none of it seems age appropriate.
No.
The fact that they were engaged seems really out of place with this whole thing. And like, it's 2017. Kids that get pregnant in high school, they don't typically have shotgun weddings in this day and age.
Well, but Nana Rose was involved. She was like, "You're already menstruating, Polly dear. Don't let your prime marrying years slip away."
And it's not really a shotgun wedding either, because the parents are opposed to it. They're just like, well, guess we gotta do this. And that's kind of an odd reaction.
But there's this weird thing of they had broken up, and then Polly said that there was a baby involved, and that got Jason and Polly back together. It was still strange, and I still have questions about the overall story and the veracity of it.
My favorite part, and I think this goes to what you're saying about the veracity hunter, is Jason kept the ring for himself. Like, he's not like, okay, Polly, you wear this. Instead, he's like, no, don't worry, I'll hold on to this. We'll definitely get married, though. I'm just gonna, for safekeeping, you understand. I don't want you wearing a ring and telling people we're married.
You can call yourself my girlfriend, but just not when other people are around.
Just not into PDAs, you know.
Yeah. I did like that almost every single flashback, of which there were several, occurred in Pops, because nothing in this town happens anywhere else.
That's actually where the baby was consummated as well.
Well, the baby was consummated?
You know what I mean.
I do, but it's funny to pretend like I don't.
So, speaking of story veracity or lack thereof, Sheriff Keller, of course we open with Sheriff Keller bumbling around pretending to be a police professional, and he's questioning Polly very gently about her take on events.
This was a really interesting approach to police interrogation. Just sitting down in the living room, no tape recorder, no video, no notepad, just chatting with whoever happens to be there, and then just leaving. Real professional, that guy.
Betty's filling in parts of the story. She's like, oh, like, remember Jason was doing a drug deal, and Polly's like, oh crap, almost forgot that half of my alibi. He doesn't probe anything at all, like, wow, like, why did you guys break up? Why did all of a sudden this baby make him get back together? Do you think that he really intended to be with you? He just accepts everything at face value and is like, okay, she's crying now, I'll leave.
Right.
Well, verifying a story and, doing additional questioning, that would take a lot of time, and he's got to get back home to work on his new murder board. Mm-hmm. He's really jealous of how well the one at the high school turned out, and to be honest, I think he's feeling a little insecure and inferior that Jughead really showed up his murder board.
So in this episode, we're introduced to the idea that the drugs that Jason was selling came from the Southside Serpents, which Polly states in her statement, and later on we get some possible backup for that. But I just was imagining Jason walking into the biker bar we later see, just like tripping over the jukebox cord and unplugging it and being extremely out of place.
Guys, I'm 14 engaged. I need to make some quick money. And the biker bar really seems like they would be welcoming of young underage high school students just like sauntering in and asking questions, as they are later in the episode.
Mm-hmm. How much money would you make off delivering drugs? Like, I understand you take a mass amount of drugs from A to B. The person who receives them then gives you a lot of money for these expensive drugs. I imagine as the delivery driver, you only really get to keep a fraction of that.
It's just like a minimum wage plus whatever they tip.
I just didn't see this as like, oh yeah, this guy was, transporting a couple pounds of marijuana upstate, so naturally we paid him the going rate of 6 figures.
Right. It's a little more than he could make on Drug Dash.
Yeah, it's so weird. None of this makes sense, but I guess we'll get that later because, more importantly, Jug and Archie are roommates now.
Oh, yeah, cracking open a few cold ones.
Whoa, it's kind of ripe in here. Somebody want to open the window?
It's like Archie and I are just roommates in a college dorm.
Oh, great. What does that make me, the RA?
No, you're the third roommate.
This was a really weird scene. Like, the whole exchange is like, wow, your room stinks, and also I'm not an authority figure.
Right. When Archie says, you're not the RA, you're the third roommate, it was a very harsh critique of Luke Perry's parenting.
Yeah. Well, also, when Luke Perry comes in, he's like, wow, this room smells terrible. Maybe it was because of the punching bag and Archie's workouts in his bedroom. Let's not throw all this on Jughead.
Well, Jughead is Southside trash, so maybe that is what's stinking up the room. But no, I think it is funny that, like, even Archie's like, you, an authority figure?
Like, he's not even the RA. He's not the dean of the school, anything. He's just, oh, you're the third roommate. The one that we don't invite to play video games with us.
And RAs, they're not that much of authority figures.
Right.
I got drunk with my RAs all the time in college.
A lot, yes.
Poor Luke Perry. And now I can't make fun of him because I know that he literally passed away.
He's gone on to be that third roommate in the sky.
Rest in peace, Luke Perry.
He's living with Jesus and God now, failing to parent them.
Did they write him out of the show prior to his untimely death, or?
I looked it up, and what they did is, like, they just announced at the start of the first season of Adam that he died heroically, like saving a kid on the street or something. And Archie spends the majority of that episode, like, dealing with the loss of his dad.
Okay, so at least they do address it somehow.
Yeah,
Yes.
It seems like it's probably respectful-ish, though it is Riverdale, so we'll see how that actually works in in reality.
Oh man, yeah.
I do know they dedicate every episode after he passed to Luke Perry. Like there's a dedication after everyone.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're putting their best foot forward. How good that best foot is remains to be seen. So from Jughead and Archie chilling in the little attic room, we go to our favorite spot in school, the lounge, and now Cheryl's one of the gang and she's just hanging out with them.
Is she, though? Because, Hunter, after what you said in the last recording about how no one responded to Veronica, I paid attention, and no one responds to Cheryl in this interaction. She's the ghost now.
Yep.
They just like make a mean comment about the Blossoms and look at her and are like, oh, like, sorry, we're used to just talking mad shit on you.
Yes. Veronica is at, like, her worst she's been in so many episodes.
The Oscar Elton John party comment, really bad.
Betty, come on. An impossible situation is being invited to the Vanity Fair Oscar party and Elton John's Oscar party on the same night, which happened to me one year. I know.
Yeah, that's strong cringiest line contender.
It's the cringiest line. It's just, when this happened, even on a rewatch, when I knew it was coming, I cringed. Possibly more than the first time. And my main thing is she says, like, Betty's talking about, like, oh, my parents want my sister to give up her baby for adoption. And this is a real problem. Veronica's quote is, Betty, come on. An impossible situation is blah, blah, blah. Crap about being invited to an Oscar party. Like, she just can't stand that the spotlight's not on her.
What's really frustrating is that, like, I feel like Veronica's a character that should have more flaws to be more interesting, and she does have them. They're just not really acknowledged or treated that way. Like, it would be very appropriate for everyone to be like, fuck you, when she says that. Wow, that's a really sucky thing to say. What the hell, Veronica? But instead, Kevin's just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, and everyone else just moves right along like what she said was totally normal.
Yeah.
And there's just no consequences.
What does Kevin see in this twit? Like, I don't get... She just said, like, I was invited to an Oscar party. She didn't even say Sir Elton John, first of all. Which, he's been knighted. Anyway.
Show Elton John the proper respect.
But who cares if she got invited to Oscar parties? I don't know why he thinks that the ground she walks on is sacred.
It's so weird. But, oh, she's got another bad line after this, because she comes up with a solution, quote-unquote, to Betty's family life problem of, let's throw a baby shower. Mm-hmm. But she announces it in another strong candidate for cringiest line, which is,
But luckily, I've been percolating on an idea.
yikes, oh my god, none of that is how English works.
No.
Her thing is, her idea is throw this baby shower and bring Alice and Penelope in the same room together. And her rationale is, oh, in public, they won't do anything. But the last time we saw them in public...
All they do is fight in public.
Taste of Riverdale. Penelope slapped Alice so hard she, like, knocked her fillings down her throat.
Alice does not give a shit. We've firmly established that. She will throw down anytime, anywhere.
You're basically building an audience for a steel cage match.
Honestly, down. I would buy tickets to this event.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think the scene saver is whenever Betty gets all smiley when Jughead is referred to as her boyfriend.
Which leads to yet another cringy line from Veronica of, it's just a word that begins with B.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Please just get rid of Veronica, Riverdale.
Or at least, like, rewrite her heavily. Oh, man.
I didn't know until possibly the last second of this scene that Val was even in the room with Archie and the gang.
No.
Oh my god, I completely missed she was there. I rewatched it 3 times. Oh my god.
You were probably captivated because it's in the shot where Alice barges into the student lounge in the middle of the goddamn day for obvious reasons, but Val is revealed to be there. No lines. She gets a split-second shot. Like, she's pushed so far to the side, she's practically on the other side of Sweetwater River.
Yeah.
If we can just get into this now, because Val plays such a small role in this episode, but, like, I have never seen a show signal more clearly that we are not to be invested in a relationship than, like, how they treat Val in this episode. We find out from Archie that he had his first date with her off screen, and it's like, Sarah and I have been rewatching Gilmore Girls this past week, and we just got to an episode where a fan unfavorite character gets together with Lorelai, and the whole episode is about their first date. And even though we all hate this character, Digger Styles, like, they devoted considerable screen time to their date because they want you to be invested in this relationship. Val, off screen. She gets, like, one line where she begs Archie to talk to him, and he just leaves. He's like, no, I'm not talking to you. And then later, she's at the baby shower. Archie storms in to confront Jughead. Never says a word to Val. She might as well be dead.
Yeah, I had the same thing of, he goes into the baby shower where his girlfriend is, doesn't even make eye contact with her. And when he goes on a date with her, it's just him going back home. And Luke Perry's like, oh, how was your date? Archie's like, it was fine. I have pizza.
Some girl was there. I don't know.
Yeah, the pizza gets as much screen time as Val.
She's basically there for Archie to ignore. Like, that's her whole purpose in this episode, is that it sort of shows, I guess, to me, shows Archie being a dick, but I don't think we're supposed to think that. I can't tell what they want me to think about Archie.
Oh, we don't have space in this episode script to give Val more than 2 lines. She's just kind of off screen.
I guess. It's frustrating, though, because I think we've all said she's such a good character. She could use more screen time.
Yes. But hey, I'm not one to complain because Alice Cooper barges into the lounge and I have questions about why she's there, but I just accept it because she's grand.
I like that she can just come into school in the middle of the day. Like, she doesn't go through, like, the visitor's badge, like, thing. No, the principal just sees Alice Cooper coming. He hides in his office. He presses the unlock door button from afar so she won't just, like, tear a hole through the school wall getting to what she wants. He's like, please, God, just let her be out of here quickly.
She knows exactly where Betty is, so she probably has a tracking chip on that kid.
Absolutely.
She learned her lesson from Polly.
I think one of the most interesting parts of this episode is that Polly really, really wants her mom to come to the baby shower. And I just keep being like, Polly, you've met your mom. Why? Why would you want to do that?
Look, she may have locked me in an asylum for several months and hidden the death of my fiance from me, but, like, I feel like she'd get me a pretty banging baby gift, so, like, it evens out.
If she's not there, who will insult all of the presents I get? I mean, what kind of party is that?
Polly specifically requests not only Alice be there, but also Penelope Blossom, and why would you want either of them?
Polly is obviously secretly all about the drama. I think that's what we can read into this.
If Penelope touches her stomach, that fetus is going to crawl up into Polly's lungs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she interrogates Veronica and Betty, who are like, can't you get over the fact that we lied to you and hid your daughter from you and just come to the baby shower?
I like that Betty stands up to her mom. I feel like she's become more and more resistant to Alice's domineering attitude.
Yeah, it's a good mini arc.
All right, so then we have the construction company woes.
Yeah, this is where we get Luke Perry walking tall. Everyone's quitting his job because Cliff Blossom is hiring everyone out from underneath him. Archie first learns about this after his off-screen date with Val, and there's a line in this scene where Archie's like, oh, my dad seems like he's troubled. And he says, hey, Dad, you always make me talk about your problems. I wanted Luke Perry to just give some sort of oracular answer like, you see, there's this job, and I want to do it, but someone else doesn't want me to do it.
I was so confused about how all of this worked. Like, how can someone hire out the entire crew of a company without hiring the company? And, like, why would all of the crew leave their full-time job for even a 2-year contract job? Like, I get they probably understand a little bit how their financial troubles, but this seems like a real recipe for disaster all around.
Well, yeah, and if Luke Perry has the money to pay this crew, assuming they're like a contract crew, okay, so like put an ad on Craigslist for more people now, like hire new people. How is this that difficult? I don't get it.
I read it as subcontractors, like, oh, this is the guy I usually work with who does the electrical stuff on my jobs, things like that, and Cliff's hiring all those people. But again, like you said, Cliff Blossom doesn't have unlimited money. There are people that will come and do that job.
It would make sense if it was the subcontractors, but we find out it's everyone.
Yeah, that's where it gets really strange and very unbelievable.
And it also is confusing because, like, then Luke Perry talks about how they're hemorrhaging money. It's like, but how? Like, aren't the majority of your costs payroll? Like, if everyone's gone, what is left?
Yeah, I guess, I think he says something about equipment rental, but again, it's pretty flimsy and very strange. This leads to the next thing that I didn't really find believable. Luke Perry goes to confront Cliff Blossom, which I liked, but Cliff Blossom gets out of his car and is like, I sense that your employer has limited funds. That's why he's trying to build this project so quickly. Like, doesn't expediting construction cost more?
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
We literally just watched something about this in our Gilmore Girls rewatch.
That was odd, but hey, Cliff Blossom's wearing a turtleneck. He's dressed like he's about to time travel to the 1970s to play golf. So who am I to question such a man?
I think what happened is his derby hat just got stuck on his hairpiece, and so now he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, it always just sort of looks like he's going to do some combination of golf and fox hunting. Like fox golfing. I don't know. I don't know what rich men do.
He exclusively wears wine-colored things.
It's weird. Oh, I did want to point out, apparently the Blossoms founded their maple empire on a vacant lot that became a drive-in. And that's just the perfect place to start a maple empire. The middle of nowhere. And as all highly successful empires do, they lost their principal piece of land somehow.
I did really like that confrontation, though. I liked how Mr. Blossom looked at Luke Perry like he was already plotting how to kill him and make it look like an accident. Like, oh, wow, I can't believe that random syrup barrel just rolled in front of his car. What are the odds?
Luke Perry gets his bluff called whenever he tells Cliff, oh, I'm going to do whatever I can to stop you. And Cliff's just like, what are you going to do? You're Luke Perry.
Right?
My note here was Mr. Blossom said, like, oh yeah, what are you going to come out with me with? And I had Luke Perry say, $14 and a half eaten turkey on rye. Hold the tomatoes. And so then we go back to Polly, and who is worrying that her mom won't attend the baby shower. And Hermione asks Ronnie to have a sidebar with her. And I swear this is the last Gilmore Girls reference, Hunter. But during one of the episodes we rewatched, one of the main characters, Rory Gilmore, her new ID card gets a misprint where her name is Ronnie, and she goes on a rant about how that's not even remotely close to being any girl's name ever. So I include that in the clips for you to play when you get there.
And check out the name. Ronnie Gilmore. Oops. Yeah, oops. I don't even exist. And how did they get Ronnie? That's not even remotely close to being short for any girl's name in the history of the entire planet.
Ronnie, a word?
So
well, someone was wrong here.
It's also funny how when Hermione and Alice meet at Pops to discuss going to the baby shower, And Hermione tells Alice that if she doesn't attend, she'll regret it for the rest of her life. Like, you're such a liar, Hermione. No person in human history has ever regretted skipping a baby shower. That's not possible.
So whenever they're debating about the baby shower at Veronica and Hermione's apartment, Hermione's like, this is a terrible idea.
Plus, I can't believe Alice even wants to come from what you told me.
She doesn't. I was kind of hoping you might, like, talk some sense into her, you know? Like, mother to mother.
Oh, yeah, no.
And I agree with her, but Ronnie shenangles her into going and talking to Alice and convincing her to come to the baby shower.
I do like that when Hermione is asked to go talk some sense into Alice Cooper, she's like, oh, no, that's not gonna work. Have you met Alice?
I mean, yeah, no one can talk sense into her. But Alice brings up some good points about Polly's age and other stuff, and it left me kind of wondering, like, how is Polly going to school or, like, getting an education? Because she's still, like, 16 years old or so.
Currently, it seems like she is not.
Like, she's just truant at this point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it also seems like it would be very easy for Alice Cooper to mandate that she come home because, I don't know, I think there are laws about that kind of thing. Maybe I'm wrong.
Like legal guardian and
yeah,
whatnot?
you have to, like, have a guardian if you are under 18. That's a thing.
Who knows at this point? Maybe you were right all along, Sarah, and we shouldn't be applying logic to this show.
No. But we skipped over the scene where the high schoolers come to save the day.
No, that's right now.
Oh, that's right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Let's dig into this meaty old scene.
Is there any problem child labor can't solve?
No.
Like many business owners pushed to the brink by free market capitalism, Luke Perry's forced to resort to child labor.
It's just you gotta do what you gotta do. I also really I didn't know before this episode that to do construction you don't need any skills or prior experience, and you don't even have to be an adult. You just need a penis. That's amazing.
Oh, if you're a bruiser stud, as Moose says, then you'll be great at construction.
Well, and I obviously am, so.
Yeah, put that on your resume, Sarah. Skill bruiser stud.
Bruiser stud.
You'll be laying concrete in no time.
Yeah, so it's like 4 to 5 of them who come to help out with the construction. It's like, perfect. That'll take the place of the dedicated construction crew. You guys can work what? Like 2 hours an afternoon and maybe like 8 on weekends? Perfect.
Yeah, especially since not all of them even do any of the work. Like, Jughead the whole time just appeared to be walking next to people who were working, which, if that's what manual labor is, I'm in. I can do that all day.
Okay, so I love the way that Jughead and Archie walk next to each other during the scene. It totally looks like they're not ready to do any work. It looks like they're Derek Zoolander during the coal mining portion of that movie. Just like glamorously posing in construction outfit.
That's such a good description, because Jughead's got his like little wife beater on and his flannel tied around his waist, like he's self-conscious about people staring at his ass.
It's so great. And of course, the most important question for the scene is, now that we've got like half the football team and Kevin and Jughead working construction, are they all going to get hot?
Can Archie get even hotter?
Wow, I don't know if we can handle that.
I don't know if I can. The one thing that this scene did leave me with the impression is Moose is a very, very poor replacement for Reggie.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I miss Reggie so much.
Moose doesn't have that same fire that Reggie did. There are the redeeming qualities or attempts to give Archie redeeming qualities when he explains to Jughead why he's doing this. And the last couple episodes, they've made some strides in making Archie a lot more likable.
Yeah, a few. I will say, on the subject of Moose, I guess that Kevin Moose plot really, really, really is over, because there is one of the kids who's working construction compliments Kevin on how good he looks working construction, and it's the unnamed background extra and not Moose.
Hey, Keller. Looking good. Looking buff. Let's get you on the team.
Yeah, who is that kid? Is he the new Reggie?
No, the new Reggie won't be unveiled until season 2.
I was just calling this one Tobias the entire time in my head. He's just some random dude we've never seen before who showed up.
Didn't even notice him, to be honest.
He has like one line, so he's up there with Val in terms of screen time.
Oh, is Archie gonna date him now too?
He could be dating both of them. Neither of them would know.
Yeah. I think my brain just screens out random football man. I just have no interest and just sort of zoom right over it.
Yeah.
Do you think Val like wonders about the state of their relationship? Is she just like, are we actually dating or not?
Are we like a word that starts with B or like a different word or like
A word that starts with C, like casual.
like H, like hookup, like T, like talking, like what's going on?
Poor girl.
I know. She deserves so much better.
She deserves someone who'll let her sing co-lead on the bridge.
So, after the wonderful day of hard work, in which, like you said, Kevin, after school and football practice, they could have put in tops 2 hours before sundown, while the other kids are putting away their construction gear and getting paid in soda, Moose goes outside and gets his ass beat by some people who are destroying construction equipment.
Yeah, I guess I was wrong. I guess Moose's questioning sexuality is still up in the air because he really gets worked over by two guys laying the pipe. But yeah, these two random people just start damaging equipment and damaging Moose, who I think falls under the category of equipment.
It's really all he's good for. And they also tell Moose that they're going to return every night to smash stuff, which feels like a very inefficient approach. Like, why not just come one time and burn down everything? Just like ask Jughead for some matches, just get it done.
You know, you make a really good point, because Moose has that line where he's like, you know, they whisper gently in my ear that they're going to come back every night to continue to mess with the site. Instead of going on this wild goose chase to track them down, why didn't Archie and the gang just have a stakeout and wait for these guys to return?
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Well, judging by how Sheriff Keller handles it when they ask him to come, I'm not sure a stakeout would have worked.
Yeah, once again, Sheriff Keller's approach to police work is really unique. He just sort of is like, oh, interesting. A 15-year-old kid was beaten with a tire iron. I don't really see any need to look into this. No one's ever really been hurt by a tire iron before. It's fine.
Whoa. You want me to investigate a crime? That sounds like an awful lot of work for a Tuesday evening.
I just wanted him to be like, looks pretty cut and dry to me. On-the-job injury, child labor. Fred Andrews, you're under arrest. Case closed.
It really makes you wonder, like, if Sheriff Keller is this bad, like, how bad are, like, the deputies he trains?
Like, we saw a couple deputies in the last episode. I think one of them deserves a promotion, probably.
Yeah, but let's look more into that. I found some footage of some of Sheriff Keller's training videos from when he did some recruiting back in the day.
Oh, really? Interesting. How'd you find this?
Oh, just the dark web, you know. Welcome to the Riverdale Sheriff's Department. I'm sure you two will fit in great here. Do you take your coffee with cream, maple syrup, both?
Sheriff Keller, please, sir, just syrup, of course. Just 1 dash.
2 dashes for me, Mr. Sheriff, sir.
Ah, fellow sweet tooth, you'll go far here. Now, what questions can I answer for you?
Just curious, will you have desks here at the station for our files?
I'm not sure why you'd want to look at that kind of thing here at the station. I like to spread my files out at home in my living room. Gets great light in through the south-facing windows. That's also where I usually put up my murder boards.
Oh, like your investigation wall.
Sure, I guess you could call it that. Mine used to be really drab until my son introduced me to Pinterest. They look so charming now. I'm able to make such great use of negative space.
Of course! Oh, I'm putting that down in my journal. Now, where do we keep equipment? I just bought this new microphone for interviews, and I just want to know where I can store it.
You new recruits are so funny. Recorded interviews. Police work doesn't belong in your TikTok account, kids. Just, go out there and talk to people.
Like, bring in each individual in the station for questioning.
Whoa, no. Talk to them somewhere they feel comfortable and try to get them in as big of groups as possible. 3 to 4 at the very least, maybe in a nice penthouse apartment.
I thought we were supposed to separate witnesses so they can't collude on their stories.
You've been watching way too much Cops. Don't get me wrong, it's a great show. I like to watch it myself while I pin my favorite murder boards. But those Hollywood actors they hire will hardly teach you real police work.
I thought they filmed real
No,
police.
when you interview people, you wanted them all in the same room so they can be all on the same page. Best case scenario, all your witnesses tell you the exact same story, word for word.
Oh, so since the interviews aren't recorded, we just take notes.
Oh yeah, of course. I take some notes afterwards. Here, you can look at my files on the Blossom case.
Wow, this has got me more jittery than a June bug. I've heard all about this case. Let's see him.
Here's one. September-ish. Talked to boy at school. September-ish?
Yeah, you don't want to bog down the case files with too many details. Remember, feelings are as important as facts.
I bet you talked to a lot of kids at the school to get more information about that Jason Blossom.
Sure, a few. Mostly I waited for them to come to me or for the principal to bring them. You know, police work is a lot like fishing. You cast some ideas out there and then you sit back and wait. You have to be very patient.
Oh, so how do you track down leads then?
Let me tell you the two most important leads in every cop's arsenal. The high school newspaper and Cheryl Blossom's Twitter.
Wait, isn't she a suspect?
Sure, but her hashtags are pure fire. Follow at ShareBear, her public one, obviously, and also at HotHouseFlower. That one doesn't have as much information, but the pictures are great. She has some really big, beautiful brooches.
Oh, nice. Real nice. I'm adding her right now.
That's it. Let's get you on your first assignment. Why don't you two go on up to Thornhill and ask Cliff and Penelope Blossom who their top suspect is this week? If it's someone who got some C's on their report card, we might even be able to arrest them later.
All right, let's do it. What a great find, Sarah. That sheds so much light on the process.
Yeah, it's a really interesting approach that he has, unconventional, but who knows, maybe he's really onto something.
Yeah, it's less of a Sherlock Holmes go to the actual crime scene and more of a semi-retired police officer.
Yeah, just sort of sitting back, waiting for it to happen. I think that's a really nice way to do things.
And what great world building that they use maple syrup in their coffee. What an outlandish thing to do that makes such sense in Riverdale, though.
Yeah, definitely know people in the Northeast do that. That's true. People would make fun of us if we said that on a podcast, so we definitely don't.
So, Sheriff Keller's definitely not doing anything at all about the fact that Moose got assaulted. Like, let's just get that settled.
Look, his name is Moose. He'll be fine. He doesn't need, like, a hospital visit.
The vet, maybe.
What do I look like, a park ranger? This Moose will be just fine.
Yeah, and so after that, there's kind of just a quick random scene where Polly asks for Mom will attend the baby shower, and it's unclear. And then Polly also says, by the way, Betty, you're my kid's godmother.
I don't actually know what a godparent does. I'm just going to say that right now. My only run-in with godparents would be Sirius Black in the Harry Potter books.
Yeah, ideally the godparent is Sirius Black, but if he's unavailable, then there's two approaches. One is sort of the ceremonial godparent, where you just are like, I really like this person, and I'm going to name them a godparent. And then there's also the way where you actually are designating them as the guardian if you were to die.
All right, I think it was more like the second one.
Yeah, which I don't think that she can do legally, given Betty's age, but okay, sure, why not?
Well, or in Polly's age, too.
Right.
Yeah.
This all seems just very contrived, but sure.
That's all just prelude to Archie deciding that rather than wait for the thugs to come back and attack the construction site again, he's going to go straight into the center of what he thinks is the thugs' lair, because they all suspect that the Southside Serpents are responsible for the attack.
Yeah, except Jughead, who, even though his dad is the leader of the Serpents, was unaware that they dealt drugs, which I think is really sweet. Like, that he thought that his dad's gang just, like, heckled people at movie theaters and, like, sent snakes around town. Like, just, like, cute little gang pranks, you know? You know how they do.
I mean, Jughead's, yeah, he doesn't seem very well versed in the world of organized crime and how profit is made there. But it's also more that thing from last episode where he's trying so hard to cling on to at least some amount of respect for his dad.
Yes.
Which is a tall order, because FP commands very little respect. But I do want to say, when Archie barges into the bar, there's like this big badass biker dude who has this great line.
This ain't the first time one of you bulldogs have come in here looking to cause trouble.
And I just like the implication that the badass biker gang has a repeated problem of high school sophomores infiltrating their bar and causing fights.
Right.
Really helps solidify like the badass nature of this gang.
I thought we were supposed to assume that was Jason Blossom. Maybe I'm wrong.
That was my thought. But it was really strange. One thing I loved is that the bar is called the White Wyrm, and that is an amazing reference. Kevin and I, one of our favorite podcasts is 372 Pages We'll Never Get Back.
So good.
They were a huge inspiration for us starting this, and they covered the Bram Stoker book, The Lair of the White Wyrm. So seeing that book referenced in this show, which I guess counts as another cultural reference, was really, really cool.
Yeah, it's a visual reference, though, because I don't think any of them say the name on screen.
So there's like a podcast cross-pollination here. And the inside of this bar is really, really cool. Like, I would go to this bar 100%.
Yeah, this could be so much sketchier. Like, this just looks like a normal bar. I would go there, too. But I also don't understand what the plan is, really. Like, they say, like, oh, we'll just find the people that Moose vaguely saw in the dark and then go from there. But, like, all of these men in this bar look like they would beat someone up for money. I don't know how you're going to narrow it down.
Yeah, and Moose even said it was dark. I didn't get a look at him. Like, one bearded and tattooed guy is as good as the next, to a blind moose. So it was a little strange, but okay, one other thing is they go there with Kevin and Joaquin, who we haven't seen since the episode where the two of them made out at the drive-in, is mentioned as Kevin's boyfriend, and we're made to believe this relationship has been going steady since then. Like, what?
Significant others, they all happen off screen in Riverdale. Like, who wants to build interest in, like, two couples falling in love?
Because that could have been a really cool story and something that we saw happen with Kevin where, he's dating a gang member, his dad's the idiotic sheriff. How is he navigating this world? He's a way more interesting character than a lot of the people who get more screen time.
Oh, yeah, I would completely watch a spinoff about Serpent seducing preppy high schoolers to cover up crimes and then accidentally falling in love with them. Like, this is a really interesting subplot, and they're just not even showing us.
I don't understand. Are you saying there's some kind of, like, star-crossed lover situation here that could lead to some type of natural and organic but very believable drama?
Yeah, we definitely can't show that on this show, yeah.
I don't know. I'm unsure what drama can be wrung from, like, a kid who's in a gang and the son of a local sheriff falling in love in a town that is implied to be a little behind the times. So, I don't know. What drama's there, really?
Nothing there.
Let's go back to Archie giving his dad pizza.
And picking fights with random bikers in a bar. And much like the fight against Reggie in an earlier episode, it's like 2 seconds in, and Archie's about to get his sandals washed. The kid is dead to rights before FP steps in and stops the fight.
He needs to hit that punching bag a little bit more because he is not doing well.
Or maybe it's just like, he's like, oh, wait, the punching bag never hit back. I wasn't ready for this.
I didn't know it goes both ways.
I thought we were supposed to, like, square up like old-time boxers and someone would ring a bell.
And FP calls Archie's dad to come pick him up, and Luke Perry is so cross that he almost does the unthinkable and parents.
It was a really close call. But Archie going to this bar, in a Letterman jacket, I feel like is, once again, it's just very inappropriate for him to be wearing it. I'm just wondering if it's like a treatment protocol for his shirt allergy. Because I can't think of any other reason that he would wear it to a biker bar and to a funeral. Like, I could blend in, but I'm going to be that guy.
It's such a weird choice to wear to a bar, because you would think as an underage character, your thought is, I have to infiltrate this bar. I need to look older instead of, I need to look like a high schooler. Because you're either clearly a high schooler sneaking into a bar, or even worse, you're a guy who's 21 or older wearing a Letterman jacket.
Right. Either way, get the hell out.
Yeah.
FP and LP start chopping it up, and FP denies that the Southside Serpents were responsible for messing up the construction site.
He does promise to look into it, too, so that's nice of him.
So Luke Perry and FP are talking, and Luke Perry's been like, Archie, go wait in the car. And during this conversation, Archie, showing heretofore unhinted at powers of stealth, somehow snuck away. I think this is the character growth we've been waiting for.
I like to think that he was actually just like really loud, but Luke Perry is such a bad father he didn't hear any of it. And we're seeing things from Luke Perry's perspective. Meanwhile, everyone's like, what is all that noise out there? Oh, it's just Archie sneaking away. And his dad doesn't hear it? Nah, he's too invested in something else.
FP was facing the truck the entire conversation. He could have midway through just been like, Archie, I see you getting out of the truck. Get back in your dad's truck.
Also, I'm pretty sure Luke Perry would have driven Archie to a baby shower. Like, I don't think he needed to sneak away. It's not a sordid tryst that he's going to.
People in this episode have a real hard time noticing things that are right in front of them. We'll get to that at the ending scene. But okay, so at the baby shower, it starts with a creepy cover of Our House. I think this show has already gone too far on these creepy covers.
My favorite part is when Cheryl comes in with a stroller that she's brought as a gift, and it looks like a baby hearse, which is very appropriate.
That was my thing. My note here is Cheryl arrives with what can only be described as a funeral pram.
It's from Rosemary's Baby. It's the original pram that they used in that film.
Well, I think it's foreshadowing for the scene when Polly will give birth to a creepy cover of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Did I say Cheryl or Polly? I meant Polly.
Hey, could be either one at this point. When Alice Cooper shows up, Betty goes over to her sister and is like, Polly, look, Mom's here, as if she's talking to a 3-year-old. Polly already reacted to her mom walking in. She doesn't need to be told that her mom is in the room that she's currently standing in.
I just like that the Blossoms and Alice Cooper, basically as soon as they're all in, they just all get into it basically immediately.
We got Nana Rose doing crystal rituals over in the corner, and meanwhile Penelope and Alice are about to tear each other's eyes out.
You know, that crystal thing, now it makes sense why they cut the doctor scene from the last episode, because they've decided she's a mystic now.
Yeah.
And
direction.
Two things. So she predicts that the baby is actually twins. And spoilers, it is. So I guess Nana Rose really does have fortune-telling powers. Hunter, this is the magic fantasy element you've been hoping for.
It is. And I have fortune-telling powers because I think an episode or two ago I said I think it's twins.
You do. And also, Cheryl has a cringy line in this moment where Nana Rose is doing fortune-telling.
This necklace reads the baby's aura. Predicts the sex.
Nana has dementia and gypsy blood.
And it seems like the actress herself was really ashamed of it too, because she kind of like mutters offside like, Nana Rose has gypsy blood and dementia. And it's like, oh, I felt your pain having to deliver that, Madeleine Page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can we just talk about Madeleine's bravery and sacrifice in the line of duty with the dialogue she's consistently asked to deliver?
Yeah, and she does a good job considering what she's given. She does very admirably. I can speak.
Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear oversized brooches.
Mm-hmm.
I also like, so fun little fashion note, because I'm trying to be better, you guys. I'm trying to improve. Mrs. Blossom and Cheryl feel like they're dressed the opposite of the way like they should be. Mrs. Blossom is dressed like a 20-year-old wearing like fancy clothes to Dapper Day at Disneyland. And Cheryl has gone all in on like cleavage. She's like, is this appropriate for a baby shower? If not, I can find something even more low cut.
Yeah, she went real far with that ensemble for the baby shower. That was a little much for a family event.
She looks great, though. I mean, I didn't hate it.
I ain't complaining. I'm just...
Yeah, Hunter, I believe you sent me some audio of your initial reactions to this, and it sounded a lot like the Chuck Jones wolf, just like going crazy and whistling and howling.
Yeah, just like a lot of like, oh, guys, hello, nurse. Which is how I talk in the real world. This is just my podcast voice.
Oh, and then they start opening gifts, and Archie just storms in to confront Jughead, like, makes brief eye contact with Val, like, you stay out of this, I need to be with my love right now.
Val, you're still in town?
What was interesting, too, is that, I mean, they just, I guess, decided to leave out that scene where we discover that Nana Rose is Polly's doctor, but clearly that's the case, because they haven't taken Polly to an actual medical doctor who would have told her already that she was having twins. It's all on Nana Rose.
She's showing at this point, which means she's like in her second trimester. She should have had an ultrasound way before then.
Yes. I was just waiting and I wanted you to try to tell me more pregnancy facts.
So she hasn't even been checked for gestational diabetes, which is a thing that happens pretty frequently. What about like the blood test where you have to make sure that the baby is compatible with the mother? I know a little bit of science.
You're doing great. Yes, no, she should have seen a doctor multiple times throughout her pregnancy. Betty brings up that she needs to go to a doctor several times in the last episode, and I guess they just haven't gotten around to it. Or are just relying on Nana Rose.
And you have a baby shower to plan, you can't make time for things like medical visits.
Priorities, people.
Alice Cooper.
Oh, hold on. We need Archie to get escorted out first.
Yes. That doesn't take long. Veronica snaps at Archie. She doesn't even call him Archie kids.
That's how you know he's screwed up. And then after that, they just go right back to opening gifts for Polly. Like, yeah, that was weird.
Classic Archie.
That idiot's gone.
And both Alice and the Blossoms are like making a play for Polly to come live with them. And Alice is having none of it. Oh my god. Her in this scene, everything was perfect.
Everything she does. I like that she takes the nightlight from Betty's room and re-gifts it to Polly. Stone cold. Love it.
And then Cheryl's like, oh, like open hours next. It's 200 nightlights, none of which are horrifying.
I told you guys that thing was creepy.
But they promptly give her a rocking horse that looks like it bleeds from the eyes and speaks Latin backwards.
All of the finest haunted antique baby gear. No expense spared.
Pa's like, these will all go perfect in my haunted attic.
For the baby, a pocket watch painted with the finest radium.
And Alice Cooper, like, as soon as the Blossoms like, come live with us forever and ever, she just swoops in like a raptor, like, how dare you, with this great physicality.
How dare you?
Like, it looks like she was preparing to be all of the dinosaurs in the Jurassic Park sequels.
I would watch a remake of Jurassic Park in which Alice Cooper is all of the dinosaurs.
I'm going to make a promise. Patreon, we're going to have a tier, like a goal, and if we hit that, we commission a deepfake where there's Jurassic Park 3, but all the Velociraptors' faces are replaced with Alice Cooper's.
Magenomic, hit us up!
This Patreon's going to be great. We're going to have so many rewards.
All we got to do is get around to actually making it, and it'll be amazing.
Yeah, there's that, but there's, we're going to give a lot back. The how dare you was a dynamite line, not a cringe line, just Alice Cooper killing it out here.
Oh my goodness. So perfect.
Polly's reaction is...
This is why Jason is dead. Because of this hate. This pointless, stupid fighting.
Yeah, it turns out he's dead of Romeo and Juliet disease.
Not because his skull wasn't bullet resistant.
It's the little West Side Story up in here. It's our warring families. They've killed Jason.
And even later when the whole baby shower's over, Alice Cooper gives a non-apology to Polly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we have the big reveal of the fact that Polly was offered an abortion by her father, which I think we were supposed to be shocked by as an audience, but I was sort of like, yeah, that's reasonable because she's 14 and pregnant. Sort of seems like a normal thing to do, to be like, do you want to get rid of it, or like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's all about context. Like, if he offered it as like, hey, like, if you want to do this, this is your body, your choice, in which case Hal did something that was totally okay, but they make it sound like he was pressuring her and pushing her in this direction.
And we also know that Alice Cooper is not pro-choice. I'm not even talking about abortion. She does not like people being able to make their own choices.
Oh no. She has to make all the choices. So yeah, that makes sense.
I'm all for killing babies, but I just don't like it when someone else has a say.
You joke. I can see her delivering those lines, and it's amazing. I feel like I am the Kevin Keller to Alice Cooper's Veronica.
If I was Luke Perry, instead of being into Hermione, I'd be into Alice Cooper. She has this line to Polly when they're trying to have a heart-to-heart. The exact line is, I never wanted you to feel alone, unwanted, or unloved. Like, so you kicked her out of the house, sent her off to this depressing place, and probably your last words to her as she was dragged away was, I don't love you.
No, I mean, that's a classic show of affection. When I was trying to seduce Kevin, I just sent him to the nearest creepy mental institution and was like, here you go. I never want to see you again.
It worked. That's what made me decide to move here for you.
Yeah, that's very sweet.
Oh, it's so great. Unfortunately, this whole amazing Polly Alice drama is interrupted by Archie finally learning about how serious Luke Perry's debt is. And Archie chooses this moment to be like, I hope my grandson likes building things like you do.
That was a really lame stretch. Oof. Where Archie's like, I don't want anything to do with construction, but what if my kid hates drippy acoustic music?
Also, just Luke Perry's whole thing with like, I always try to build things.
I tried my whole life to build stuff. I tried to build a family. That didn't work out. I'm trying to build a safe life for you.
Oh, that was such a forced analogy.
Like a family. Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, really? Is there some kind of metaphor you're trying to get at here with the building and the construction and the light? No, probably not.
It would have worked a little better if, like, instead of that, he's like, son, I've always tried to build things, but now what I really want is to build a wall. Maga!
What I really want to do is dance.
What a surprising left turn. Luke Perry comes out as a Trump fan. And Art's like, wow, this is a little horrifying, Dad. I'm really into, like, a Hispanic girl at school. I'm stringing her along, and I'm also dating a black girl, so I'm a little uncomfortable with this now.
Maybe that's why Luke Perry seemed more uncomfortable with Val being in Archie's bedroom in a previous episode than he was with Archie having an affair with his 30-something-year-old teacher.
That must be it.
Well, he seemed more attracted to, what's her name? The teacher.
Miss Grundy.
Miss Grundy, there we go.
You already forgot her.
To be fair, the show forgot her pretty quickly, too.
I mean, I was picturing her. I was right there.
What would Alice have done in this situation? She would have gone at Cliff Blossom, like, instead of pulling her car in front of his, she would have just rammed him off the road.
I totally believe that, too.
Luke Perry needs to toughen up.
Archie's line was bad, especially because, obviously, like, he does plan on building. He will build this city on rock and roll.
Oh, that was painful.
Thank you.
But at least you knew that was painful, unlike Luke Perry.
Exactly.
Oh, and so after that, we have the cute scene where Jughead, like, explains to Betty, like, sorry, I didn't tell you that my dad was a serpent. I was just ashamed. And she's like, hey, I forgive you. Now let's go meet him.
Mm-hmm. I would have a couple more questions if I found out my boyfriend's dad was a local gang leader, but, like, good for her taking it in stride.
Questions like, could I make some money on the side as a drug mule?
Can I get one of those sweet jackets?
The jackets are pretty cool. I mean, I liked that they didn't manufacture some sort of drama and that she was so understanding, but maybe you're right that they kind of took that a little too far.
They have so many cute moments this episode, though. Like, even when they're setting up the baby shower, like, Jughead is the only guy there, And he's helping with setup, and you can tell, like, from his physical posturing, like, he does not want to be there. But he's like, you know what? I'm here for my word that starts with G. She needs this. This is important to her. I'm helping. Meanwhile, Arch is like, sorry, I can't even say 2 words to you, Val. Gotta infiltrate a biker gang bar.
Do you still exist? I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah.
And Bay takes the time to be like, I appreciate you're here for this. I know you're not into it, but, like, thank you.
They're a delightful couple. And when they go to visit FP at the trailer, it looks cleaner than it did in the last episode.
It's gone from trailer trash to trailer recycling.
Turn this crack house into a crack home.
Yeah, and FP claims, oh, Jason was just a one-time mule, and we definitely didn't kill him. And Jughead goes, that makes sense. I believe you.
I'm not a perfect father, Jughead. No getting around that, but I'm no killer.
He's lying, Jughead. I watched him kill Drew Barrymore. Like, I saw it with my own eyes.
I want Jughead at a certain point to kind of let the scales fall from his eyes and see that his dad is a complete scumbag.
Yeah.
I think he knows.
He does, but he doesn't want to admit it. And Betty's really sweet to him, like, oh, like, I believe you, Jughead, since you believe in your dad. Maybe this is where she was too understanding. Yeah. Maybe she should have been like, your dad is, like, he's totally fucking nuts, capable of anything. He's a prime suspect.
Right, like, I think that we maybe don't want to rule out that the leader of a local gang who was involved in drug dealing, like, wasn't involved in a crime. Like, I think it's possible, potentially, he was.
Okay, we know for a fact that the drugs were in Jason's car, so the delivery was never made, which means the Southside Serpents couldn't have been happy about someone stealing their product. They have a motive to kill Jason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They go over to FP's and they're like, hey, Sheriff Keller knows that the Southside Serpents were involved in this and that Jason was doing a deal with you. Has he been over? And FP's like, nah, it's probably been 3 days since you told him, but he hasn't really dropped by, hasn't questioned any of my guys.
No, that's not his style. Cheryl hasn't tweeted about it yet, so, I mean, what is he going to do?
And then, of course, we finish up this great scene with Jughead and Bay just making out in the trailer park. Hot trailer park makeout sesh.
Oh, there is one shot after Skeet Ulrich definitely lies about not killing people. And it reminded me, if you've ever played L.A. Noire, that video game.
Oh, all the time. Just my absolute favorite of the games on the video that I press the controllers
You
to
play video games, you liar.
I'm going to go with that was a no, and I should abort this.
No, neither of us have played this one. We both play, but not that one.
Okay, in this game, you question suspects, and after they make a statement, you get to, like, look at their face and decide whether or not they're lying. Ooh. And they make the most, like, guilt-ridden expressions. And it's all I can think about looking at Skeet Ulrich as he just, like he's 100% lying. This is the wrong audience for that reference. I understand that.
I've played Heavy Rain, which is sort of similar, maybe.
Look, no. I'll be honest with you guys.
It's a mystery.
The last video game I played was probably not the current Pokemon game release, but the one before that, so...
No, we both played Fire Emblem a ton.
Stop ruining my joke. Yeah, I played a ton of the new Fire Emblem game. That was fun.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to put together footage of this, and it's going to explain everything to you guys. You're going to laugh hysterically about it, and you're going to send me audio of you laughing, and I'm going to cut it into the episode so this joke lands perfectly.
All right.
And everyone says, wow, what a wonderful reference. That didn't bomb at all.
Look, Hunter, you don't need to explain to me. I was the one who tried to make a whole set out of Pink Floyd jokes last episode, so I get how jokes can bomb.
But no, to go back to Jughead and Betty making out, I'm glad that they've moved past the revelation stage of the relationship and they can just actually make out without it getting interrupted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love them. They're so cute.
Be the main characters already.
I know.
And then, so now we get back to the good stuff. Alice confronting Hal. And it's revealed the reason she's so upset is that she was a teen mother too. And Hal tried to pressure her into getting an abortion.
So you did to Polly exactly what you did to me.
Or did pressure her into getting an abortion, like before Polly?
It's not totally clear in this scene.
I think so. I think that's the implication.
That she did get an abortion?
Oh, yeah. I think that's the implication.
Okay.
I don't know that that's true, but I think that's what we're supposed to think.
Got it.
I took away the same thing as Sarah. Yeah, so he has a history of this. I guess maybe this lends more credence to, hey, it wasn't presented to Polly as a choice, but definitely more of him mandating that she abort this child.
Very against teen pregnancies. Refuses to let the movie Juno in his home. Just has a really strong stance.
And it's also perfectly believable that Alice Cooper would overreact to something like this if it affects her personally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. And she puts Hal Cooper out on his ass like the pathetic mutt he is. She just kicks him out while dropping hints that she is an evil badass, which, quite honestly, I don't think we need those hints. We know she's an evil badass. But she's like, you know what I'm capable of.
Out before I do something that we both regret. And I think by now, you know what I'm capable of.
Like, that's not a surprise, Riverdale writers. We are positive she's killed at least 3 people in the past.
Has it already been revealed that she's from the South Side?
No.
Oh, whoops.
Wrong side of the tracks. Yeah. So Hal's rationale is A, he doesn't want to have a kid in his house that's part Blossom. And this weird blood feud, still really odd to me because that just doesn't seem to track in 2017. And Alice, I think we're meant to suspect that she's the one who killed Jason based on her saying, oh, you know what I'm capable of. But I just don't believe that. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. There's no way that it was her.
Interesting.
You just say that because you love her.
It's also, it'd be too easy if she was the killer. It has to be something else.
Yeah, I do agree that she is like the most transparently evil person on the show, so it wouldn't be the best reveal if she was the murderer.
Yeah, that wouldn't have as much spice as like, twist, you know? It was Principal Weatherby the whole time.
It was Kevin. He's like, oh my god, Cheryl's boots are amazing. I must kill you and take your place. No. Wow, that joke landed way better than I expected.
I'm just imagining Kevin Keller in all of Cheryl's outfits in this episode. Now the best thing. Okay, I need to recover myself. I think while I do that, Archie and Jughead do make up while next door Hal is, I guess, like packing his meager belongings into his car.
He's got like a bindle tied to the end of a stick.
Barefoot.
He's blowing on a harmonica as he walks down the street.
Yeah, and oh man, Archie is actually like very sweet in this scene. He's like, you can always come to me, Jughead. We're like brothers. And Jughead just continues to be an ass about these things, like, nice bro whisper.
You're like my brother.
Nice bro whisper, Archie.
That was a nice callback to their first heart-to-heart.
Yeah, Jughead has the emotional vulnerability of, like, just a steel grate.
He's a troubled kid, but he does come out and say, like, we are brothers. So he shows that he has some sort of emotional depth because he's opened it up to Betty somewhat.
Yeah.
Archie says bro like 7 times in this episode. He says it while they're at the construction site. And I don't know if that's written into the script or if Kajapa's ad-libbing a lot of extra bros as he does an American accent.
That's what I do to make sure I get it in my American accent. It's hard to do if I don't say bro every few sentences, bro.
What's up, bro? Love you, bro. And then we cut to back of the trailer, FP, Guilty as Sin, which is a great headline. You can take that, Alice. And he's giving Joaquin the Letterman jacket. That's Jason's Letterman jacket and saying, this is our insurance.
Yes.
Can someone explain a way in which that's insurance, or was everyone as stumped as I was?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. I also don't understand why we're moving like very incriminating evidence all around town. That seems like a really bold choice. I don't know what's going on.
Well, why didn't they just burn it? Like, is it just so that we, the audience, can know there is incriminating evidence?
It's the insurance, Kevin. You wouldn't understand.
It's true. I am a real dummy about how insurance works.
This is a jacket for a retired player from the Riverdale High. It's worth millions.
Let's just say, Joaquin, this is gonna cover our deductible.
But it's also revealed that Joaquin is a plant who's supposed to get close to Kevin in order to get information on Sheriff Keller, but Joaquin says he's developing real feelings. And I just think it's great that this drug-dealing biker gang is really open and progressive.
I'm imagining them having a sensitivity training. Yes, you can curb stomp someone, but you can't do it just because they're of another color or another sexual orientation. But if they snitch, they'll stab him several times.
We really need to work on insults that don't demean the sexualities of people that we invite into our organization. You can call someone a rat bastard, but if you call them gay, that's a little too far for our organization. We're going to have to ask you to leave.
Absolutely. Remember, it's fine if your snake is in any kind of grass. It doesn't matter.
But as soon as Joaquin reveals that he has real feelings for Kevin, to me, if I'm in FP's shoes as a crime lord, I would start to doubt this kid and his loyalty, so I would have just been like, well, I'm taking that Letterman jacket back. Gonna give it to someone else who I can trust.
And he says, like, don't develop feelings. We both have our parts to play. And then he opens a beer and starts drinking it. So I assume that's his part. Just sit around and drink.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretending to be an alcoholic. It's method acting. This way everyone thinks I'm just a deadbeat and I'm not actually running a criminal underworld.
And then we have more drama over where Polly's gonna live. It looks for a minute like Polly will come home to the Cooper household, but then she doesn't. And we see that she is going to live at Thornhill Mansion.
Donna. Oh, we missed that Luke, Perry, and Hermione go to discuss finding a new crew, and then they're just walking straight towards the construction site. They don't make a turn or anything, and suddenly the camera spins around, and there's a full crew there led by FP who's like, found you a crew, and Luke Perry's like, oh, where did this come from?
It was only in front of me for the last 100 yards.
It's so great. And FP reveals to Hermione that Hiram is the person who is sabotaging the construction site, which he is also paying for the construction of with his limited funds. How does this work? How is this a good plan?
He's paying Fred Andrews, and he's paying the thugs to stop Fred Andrews. So he's outlaying twice as much money to get nothing built.
Yeah, I mean, if the fraud charges didn't tell us, I think at this point we can verify he's not great with money. Doesn't do the best job.
I guess it was an emotional decision. If you were in prison and found out your wife was cheating, you may react in some pretty strange and terrible ways, too.
Oh, yeah, you gotta hire some people to beat up kids. That's just a given.
Yeah.
Hey, even if that's not actually attached to the affair, I would do that. Somewhere out there, a kid's getting beaten, and I feel better because of it.
Really makes me feel like a man,
But yeah, Polly randomly after that chooses to live with the Blossoms for what I feel is like no real reason. Like, it's not like any of the choices were great between the Coopers and the Blossoms, but it seemed to me like she should want to be near Betty.
Again, she secretly loves drama. She's like, ooh, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna get murdered, it's gonna be awesome.
Definitely seemed like a bizarre choice when Alice and Polly had a heart-to-heart. Alice kicked Hal out of the house. Everything's leading for her going back home.
Psych.
Yeah,
I'm out.
So weird. Though I really loved the closing song, the Chromatics cover of Into the Black by Neil Young. After the episode's like, oh, that was one of my favorite albums of 2012. Sarah, come listen to it with me. She was not a fan.
I like that song.
Yeah.
And then several songs into that album, I was like, I can't tell any of these songs apart anymore. I'm done.
Hey, that's what everyone says about every single hardcore album that I force them to listen to. So don't feel bad, Kevin.
All right, so that was the episode.
A beautiful tour de force.
Who wants to do the wrap-up?
Oh. I was supposed to write that, huh?
We can freestyle this wrap up. I will give it a shot.
No.
Go for it.
No, not that kind of freestyle. I'm sorry.
Let's see. Fred is finally doing construction on Sodale. He has a crew of felons working for him because that's better than child labor. Archie and Jughead have made up and are friends, so I guess they're where we left them before. Betty now knows Jughead's family history. Hermione and Fred's affair is now known to Hiram, so that's sure to come back in a later episode. And Polly is living at Thornhill with her, I guess, sister-in-law?
Yeah, something like that. Since they didn't get married, I guess it's not technically sister-in-law, but it's close enough.
And now we got cringe lines. I think we might have covered a few of them, but there might have been some that we left out.
I hit all of mine. Do you guys have anything else?
I mean, Veronica's Oscar party thing was the worst for me.
That was my cringiest. One that stuck out to me was when Hermione says about the baby shower, the Blossoms and the Coopers, an hour pre-war apartment. Like, as if when the building was constructed makes a difference. This building was built in 1937. There's no way it can house a baby shower.
If it was a post-war apartment, or
sure,
even a Gothic apartment, sure. But...
Yeah, it was kind of similar to previous episode when Veronica's like, my mom sat me down on the edge of my canopy bed. And Mr. Blossom's, the land you're building on belonged to my family. We founded our Maple Empire on it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Moose with the we're bruiser studs, Mr. Andrews.
And so and Cheryl, even though she apparently has Romani people in her family calling them gypsies, which was really uncool.
Yeah, isn't that considered a slur now? Like, Eskimo is no longer acceptable, and you should say Inuit, like, instead of gypsy, maybe use a different
Romani.
term.
Romani is the term for that cultural group. But, I mean, that honestly makes the Blossoms so much more interesting. I would like to dive deep into that. I don't know why that was just glossed over.
Hopefully we'll find a deleted scene at a later point that explains that.
So I think that actually leads perfectly into predictions. I think one thing that all of us are excited about is the fact that Polly is in Thornhill. Do you have some predictions for upcoming episodes and maybe some arcs related to her living in that hellhole?
Forgotten entirely until the last episode of the season. I mean, I'm only half joking.
Your thing is, you're probably more right than me. I was like, there's going to be a whole Rosemary's Baby situation with creepy stuff, and it's going to be like The Shining meets House of Leaves. And I want the next episode to open with Cheryl giving Polly a tour, and she's like, oh, don't go down that hallway. That's where the screaming begins.
The East Wing is forbidden.
My big prediction is, not too surprising, like, Val and Archie will, like, last only a few more episodes at most. Like, it's so clear there's no investment being built. Like, they can't last to the end of the season even.
Oh, there's no way. They've got to break up, or else he's going to have some sort of tete-a-tete with Veronica and yearn for her so much, or like cheat on Val or something, because he doesn't have scruples at this point.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we were talking yesterday about how I just really feel like Archie would be so much more interesting as a character if the show really leaned into that. And he just was a total mess about women. And, like, as soon as Jughead and Betty got together, he was like, no, I want her. And, like, every time Veronica went on a date, he was like, no, I thought we had an understanding. And he just was a complete nightmare, which he already is. But, like, he's not enough of one for me.
Right now, he's kind of that nightmare, but they have a thin veneer of, oh, he's a good guy. If they leaned into it and he was a full Sterling Archer sort of just like jerk about this and was terrible to women, yeah, that'd be way more interesting. I think it would make him more comedic, and strangely, because it would make him human, almost more likable.
Yes, exactly.
It's a thing where he has flaws, but they're not acknowledged as flaws in the show, and people all keep overlooking them. So it feels like you have this terrible character who everyone thinks is good, and it's like a little infuriating.
Yeah, like, just someone needs to tell him off. Veronica almost did, and then pivoted and was like, oh, actually, I'm just mad that our parents made out. And I've just never been more upset with her as a character. Like, no, he really is terrible. Keep going. Tell him.
He needs to know. My other prediction is a montage of Hal having the time of his life. Like a casino commercial where he's just like rolling dice and there's a woman on each arm and he's winning money. Like a Pachanga resort commercial, but it's Hal just like, I should have left her years ago.
That would be so funny.
Or just like him trying to let go of her clutches, but he's really struggling. He's like, I'll have a salad. No, wait. A burger with a side salad.
I've never felt so free.
I want to see this entire spinoff.
Hal on his own would be great. And my final thing, which I think is more of just me hoping for it, is instead of all this intrigue, the plot's moving way too fast. The next episode, Jughead and Betty just have like a nice romantic cabin getaway where they really bond and like become even more romantically entangled. And everyone else has to do the heavy lifting.
I'd like to see them have a 6 a.m. picnic.
That's a euphemism now.
And so, do you guys mind if we jump into scores?
Oh, not at all. I'm fully ready for this.
So I think this was a lot better than the last episode. Some really enjoyable moments. The plot is chugging along nicely. Alice Cooper is a superstar, so 3.5 bedbug-ridden Trojan horses.
Your score's so close to mine. Mine is written down as 3.5 out of 5 cursed childhood artifacts.
I'm going to go with 4 out of 5 mini cupcakes. And that extra 0.5 is just because I like the makeouts.
Oh, yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
See, this is why I want a whole episode of makeouts in a cabin.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you joke, but like I'd be into that.
Oh, yeah, I was totally wrong. No Archie's mom. Guess she's never showing up ever. Rescinded. Archie doesn't have a mom
He just
anymore.
butted asexually from Luke Perry's flannel.
But no, I think that's everything for this episode.
You can reach us on Twitter at @GrittyRebootPod or by email at grittyrebootpodcast@gmail.com. You can check out our website at grittyrebootpodcast.com for info about the show, past episodes, and upcoming news. We look forward to seeing you next time.